What I want to talk to you tonight about is a decision. I've, just thought about this week because of these days that Jesus spent on the earth after he was crucified, after his resurrection. They were pretty private and personal. So I want to talk about that because what he died for is to have a personal relationship with you. And I think we all need to make a decision if we're going to have a personal relationship with Jesus Christ. Now, I know what you're thinking. I don't even need to watch the video. I've already made that decision. But I think a lot of decisions we've made are public decisions. We make a public decision to follow Christ. We publicly follow Jesus. But I think that a personal relationship is more private than it is public. Let me just tell you that probably the one woman that Jesus had the best relationship with ever, her name was Mary. It was his mother. She was young. And she held him, gave birth to him, held him for hours. He nursed at her breast. They were so close as a mother, son. And she just gave her life to this little guy as he grew up with more understanding and more really knowing him than maybe anybody ever has in the entire world. But very little is recorded about their relationship publicly. We just have glimpses. But all their laughter and all their talks and all their moments were private. And we don't have any information about that because they had a personal relationship. And it's private. Probably the one that Jesus was closer to than anybody else that has ever lived in the world was Joseph. Hours and hours and hours they spent together. Probably Jesus laughed his loudest with Joseph. Probably he learned more from Joseph than any other man on the earth. Joseph taught him carpentry and just taught him certain skills and things that he needed as a little boy on the earth, even though he was God. He had this relationship with a man named Joseph. But we don't have any of those conversations because they were private. They were personal. They were just Joseph and Jesus, hour after hour, day after day, early in the morning and late at night. And I know I don't have enough time to talk about that, but maybe I'll just continue talking a little bit more. Because I want you to understand what Jesus invites us to is a personal relationship with him. And it's not about what we do in public. It's about what we do in private. It's about his personal walk with us and talks with us. And it's not about our performances. It's not about our position. It's not about our place in history. All of that's public, but that's not what our personal relationship. So I think every family member that you have needs to know this, that we have to make a decision whether we're going to have a personal relationship with Jesus Christ. I guess the best way maybe to explain it is through how personal he is. I won a young man to Jesus. I led him to the Lord. He was one of the strongest men I know. He would hit home runs on his softball team, and probably a dozen or 24 times he broke the lights out at the top of the pole over the fence, not just the fence. He hit home runs and busted the lights out on the top of the pole. I'm talking bunches of times. He had a loaded AK-47 at his front door. He was just a tough guy, Vietnam vet. But he got cancer. And I won him to Jesus, had the privilege of praying with him, watching God just totally change his life. Had the privilege of being there, probably cried more at his baptism than any other baptism as he followed Jesus in baptism, the death, burial, and resurrection of the Lord. But when he died, his wife and 8-year-old daughter that he loved so well laid in the bed. And she says, Mommy, I really miss Daddy. Well, her mother told her, said, well, just close your eyes and lay your head back and let's think about heaven. And so this little 8-year-old girl closed her eyes and laid her head back, and she said, oh, Mommy, it's so beautiful. Oh, Mommy, it's so beautiful. Oh, Mommy. Oh, I wish you could see it. Do you see it, Mommy? There's this place. It's so beautiful. It's the prettiest house I've ever saw. Oh, Mommy, it's so nice. And her mother asked her, laying there in the bed that night after his death, said, do you know who it belongs to? Whose house is it? Whose mansion is it? And she says, oh, Mommy, don't you know? It belongs to Mary and Joseph. Now, what are you saying, Rick? I'm saying a little 8-year-old girl got a glimpse of heaven because she had a personal relationship with Jesus Christ. She had a private moment where she got a vision of comfort, where she saw a glimpse. Now, I've never heard anybody talk about it. I've never heard it preached. She's never gave the speech in public, I'm sure. But when her mother told me that, it opened my eyes to some things years and years and years ago. As that little girl, because what he was concerned about is not raising her in church. He was concerned about, he wasn't going to get to see her grow up and get to go to church with her because of the life he had lived. And only the last couple years had he really committed his life to Christ. But at 8 years old, she stood at his casket and she read the 23rd Psalm. And she read it out loud for the whole family. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down. Yea, on and on. Though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death with my dad, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. She went on to say, thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Surely goodness and mercy will follow me, even without my dad, all the days of my life, and I'll dwell in the house of the Lord forever. But within the days after his death, she got a glimpse of heaven. What are you saying, Rick? I'm saying the public Jesus we know, he would probably, we've got it that, they're all the same up there. Every place is the same. If he, that maybe somebody has a cabin in the corner, we try to figure it all out of what heaven might be like. I don't have a clue. I have no idea. There's very little facts about what it's exactly going to be. But what I do know is that I don't think any other lady or any other man on the planet would have a better place than Mary and Joseph. I mean, he loved that lady. His best times on the earth were talking to her. They were private. They were personal. His greatest memories after he left her was something she made him, some time they spent together, the way she loved him like maybe no other person has ever loved him. And Joseph, we want to talk about these great men of God, these great ministers, these people that have won thousands to the Lord. But when you look at a personal relationship with Jesus Christ, I don't think we add up the public stuff we do as much as the personal. I can just tell you this. I'm 65 years old, and I'm going to close, and I'll just say this is going to be continued. But probably 100 of my best memories on the planet, 100 of them. If I pick the top 100 moments on the planet, and I've had some great ones, and I've been with lots of people and done lots of things, but I would say my top 100 moments on the planet have been private, not public. My deepest laugh was private. My best moment with my dad was private, not public. The greatest times I've ever had with Susie were private, not public. The best times I've ever had with my boys, they were private, not public. The greatest times I've ever spent, the top 100 of my moments Not one of them were public. They were private. In fact, Susie gave birth to our two boys, two of the greatest guys on the face of the earth that I know of. And I've met lots of men. But, she gave birth to them. It wasn't public. It was private. Yeah. So I just want you to think about this week. I want a personal relationship with Jesus Christ. I don't want to just know him publicly and serve him publicly and talk about him and try to explain him through whatever knowledge. I want to know him. I want to know him. Let me just tell you this. All week, these thoughts that I have kind of learned over the years are going to be continued. It's decisions I've had to make along the way. So I end up with this life with Christ that are my best moments. My very best moments with Jesus weren't when I was in a pulpit. Wasn't all those years at youth camp. It wasn't when I was in a large meeting. It was when he met with me and he talked to me and he comforted me like he did that little 8-year-old girl. He showed me something. He told me something. All by myself, no one else. And the way that he spoke to me, the way that he touched me, the way that he ministered to me. Make a decision to let your best relationship be a personal relationship with Jesus Christ.